Thailand and Korea. And I think the first one was held in Thailand, and the second one was in Korea, Seoul, and we are finally here in Japan. And it is a great honor for me to be hosting such a great international conference. My name is Kim Jae-geun from Daegu National University of Korea. Nice to meet you. I've just checked out the program book. It is organized into 3 parts. We'll start this morning with the opening ceremony and a keynote address. And in the afternoon, after the lunch, we will have presentations and discussions on paper in each sessions and in each room. Then, after those wrap up, we will come back here, right here, for the closing ceremony. Then we'll have dinner at the venue. So to begin our first program of the day, the opening address, please welcome Professor Fumio Isoda, am I correct? President of Hanazono University, with a big round of applause.
저는 이소다 후미오입니다. 라디오 가자 매일 한국어로 10년 이상 공부하고 있습니다. I have been studying Korean language for more than 10 years, but my Hangul is level. So I think when we have a selection procedure for the Korean language class teachers, they think, oh, very easy because of my level. Sorry to say that. And really welcome from Thailand and from Korea and as well as from Japan. And we are very happy to see you here in Kyoto after the last year's conference in Seoul. We remember the very meaningful and joyful experience in Seoul. And here, Kyoto City has a living culture that has been handed down for over 1,000 years. Of course, Seoul has much more longer history. But you can feel it in how the street, kimono, shrines, and temples make you aware of the changing of the season. Unfortunately, we don't have any more 4 seasons, summer and winter, no spring, no autumn. But in spite of that, I heard that some of your members went over to Kiyomizu or other beautiful temples. We are really happy to see that we have a chance to visit our temple. Here, I would like to express my sincere appreciation of the leadership and the dedication of Dr. Kim Fa-mo for making this successful. And we think we can't be here without his leadership and dedication. And also, the colleagues from Korea have been working hard for the preparation of this conference. Japanese members also have worked hard to make this conference successful. However, to compare the efforts that Korean colleagues have spent, our efforts were modest. On 21st and 22nd of June, Hanazono University held this year's conference of the Japanese Society for Curriculum Studies. We knew the difficulty and effort we have to spend for that domestic conference. And we thought it would be much more tough and time-consuming to have an international conference. However, although this conference is international, it has been much smoother and easier. It is all because of the dedication of Korean members. I feel very happy to say thank you very much to our colleagues of Korea. We welcome all the participants from Thailand, Japan, and Korea. We have Korean sessions as well as Japanese sessions. I hope we can share our experiences and thoughts with our friends from Thailand, Korea, and Japan. Nowadays, the issues of school education in Asia are very similar, and we have learned each other. And also, we have many common problems. We can learn each other from the other countries. And from Japan, a few high schools, those are research and development schools, and they are free from course of study of the Japanese government. They present their experimental research. I really expect the theory and practice will bring us a fruitful product. This year's conference is also very important because of the international politics and economy, as well as climate change, as I have already discussed. Talking about climate change, for example, the Japan Meteorological Agency announced on September 1st that Japan's average temperature this summer, June to August, was the highest since records began in 1898. It was 2.36 degrees Celsius higher than the longer time average, surpassing last year and the year before previous record, making it the highest hottest summer for 3 consecutive years. Truly, humanity or human beings are struck by severe abnormal weather. And I think next year, also the Japan Meteorological Agency will issue the similar comments. The answer to the climate change lies on the international collaboration of research and practices. And of course, the school education help us to solve these problems. I hope similar things can be said in the politics and the economy. Also, I would like to say now the Japanese government are entering the discussion of the reform of course of study for the secondary education. So that might help you to think about your own country's course of study or a curriculum or social studies. And I hope we would like to bring back all the fruits of today's discussion to the next international meeting. There, the international conference will help our discussion for our children. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Thank you again for Dr. Isada for the opening address. We have one more opening address left, which will be delivered by Dr. Kang Sung Lee from Gwangju National University of Education, the president of Korea Association of Yelling Education. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Greetings, distinguished scholars. I am be President of Korean Yearly Education Association. This is the third conference, international conference. Its contents is closely related to current issue in each country. I will briefly discuss Asian education in the Symbiotic Society. The focus on is the foundations, core principles, proposals, and the expected outcomes. We stressed a framework for education in Asia that fosters mutual understanding, collaboration, and respect for diversity, ultimately contributing to a symbiotic society. Rationale: Asia is home to vast range of the culture, histories, and social political systems. Despite geographical proximity, historical conflict, and differing perspective often creative tension. Education is a powerful tool to bridge these gaps by cultivating empathy and shared sense of the community. Core principle of the symbiotic education. Number one, cultural empathy. We promote understanding and appreciation of diverse Asian culture, including their histories, languages, and tradition. Number two, critical thinking. We equip students with ability to analyze historical narrative and contemporary issue from the multiple perspectives. Number three, global citizenship fosters a sense of the responsibility and active participation in solving regional and global challenges. Proposed initiatives. Number one, curriculum integrations. We developed and implement a regional curriculum that including shared history module, focus on the commonality and constructive ways to address historical conflict. Number two, student and teachers exchange program. We facilitated cross-border exchanges to enable direct cultural immersion and dialogue. Number three, collaboration project. We encourage joint projects between school and different countries, focusing on topics like sustainable development, art, and technology. Number four, teachers training. We provide a professional development for educators on multicultural pedagogy and conflict resolution. Expected outcomes. Number one, we increase the mutual understanding and reduce prejudice among the young people. Number two, we strengthen regional cooperation and develop two ties. And finally, new generation will be cultural, competent, and committed to peace. Thank you very much. Distinguished scholars, thank you very much.
Again for Dr. Hwang Sung Lee for the opening address. We have now come to the most anticipated part of today's morning session, the keynote address. Our program has two distinguished keynote speakers, Dr. Isoda and Dr. Walai. First, it is a great honor for me to introduce again our first keynote speaker, Dr. Fumio Isoda, a distinguished academic, as well as the president of our host university. The title of his keynote address is The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, Freedom and Equality. I'm very excited. Please welcome him with big hands.
Thank you very much again to give me a chance to discuss with you. Today I would like to talk about two things. One is about this book, Age of Super Surveillance Capital. This is the English version, and this is Japanese version. I hope Korean version will be also. Is that? Oh yes, not yet. Yeah. But this is very popular in Japan, and it was, I think, 2019 it was published, and many people said it's a very good chance to discuss about the information technology and the education also. So they please see this part. Shosana Zufo. She is a professor of, I think, Harvard. She named capital in the age of digitalization as surveillance capital, and sharply extract surveillance capitalism led by IT companies with dominant influence such as GAFA, George, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft. And actually, I discussed with our staff, and he likes this Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple. He lives in a space of IT zone. He comes to the office, and he never met anybody. He spent most of his time with the IT, with the internet community. And it's a situation, especially from the younger children. If you go over to our Japanese schools, in the primary school, all the children have some IT kids. And they want to use that IT. So now, in the first grade of the primary school, children rush to finish the card or the calculation and want to play with that IT. I wonder what will happen to this IT in the future. And also, in our school, in our universities, most of the students don't use computers. They use Wi-Fi. So they even try to answer the question by Wi-Fi. And we strongly criticize them not to use the document. For example, AI has no authority to see whether what they say is truly right or not. We think it's one of the possibilities, but not a real story. If it's a story, it should have some author, but AI has no author. But criticize those situations. And so personally, I don't use Google's. Google is perfect in some sense, but it's most dangerous system. And Katsuya Ichihashi explained well. Surveillance capitalism unilaterally demands human experience, what we did and what we work in the computers, as a free raw material for converting it into behavioral data. In addition, a huge amount of behavioral data extracted from people's experiences is put into the production process, equipped with AI, processed into support it without making them aware of it. The point is they don't know how their experience is used by the computers or by the IT companies. And finally, those computer companies, making them company create a target advertising data mining, pocket monitor, Pokemon Go, etc. And those target advertising are sold out on the market. To appeal, I think the manipulation of surveillance capitalism is a violation of the right to the future. Children think we are selecting the future, but the future are controlled by the computer, by the Google, Apple, those companies. They send the data and the selections that will be very favorable for the children or for the people. So they think they decide by themselves, but actually they are fully controlled by those Google's, those information companies. So we think violation of the right to the future, which is the right to create, learn, promise, and build the future of the individual. It is a necessary condition for free will, and more painfully, a source of willpower. How did the surveillance capitalists take it away from the people? Surveillance capitalism is a root force driven by new economic desire that ignores social norms and seeks to nullify individual autonomy and fundamental rights that are essential to building a democratic society. Eventually, it will sacrifice humanity. Here, one calls the image of the despotism depicted by Tocqueville. Over these people looms a single immense paternalistic power, which alone guarantees their pleasure and undertakes to manage their lives. This power is absolute, meticulous, scrupulous, and gentle. If its purpose were to prepare people for adulthood, it would resemble paternalism, but instead it seeks only to keep them permanently as children. So the Tocqueville explained American democracy in this way. And of course, your country are much more independent, but in Japan, the people are strongly influenced by commercialism and the power of the economic people. The sovereign does not crush human will, but soften and subdue it, guiding it. It seldom compels action, yet constantly hinders it. It does not destroy, but it prevents creation. It is not tyrannical, but it is obstructive. It oppresses, irritates, discourages, and drives people into a state of bewilderment. And finally, it reduces alienation to a herd of petty, industrious animals with the government as its shepherd. We are self-disciplined human beings. Can we break free from the control of surveillance capitalism and uphold our human dignity? Already several countries are fighting against this surveillance capitalism. But in our case, in Japan, our fight against the surveillance capitalism is much more weaker than Korea and the US or other Thailand, for example. We have to do much more things. And research and development school system. This I would like to explain. I'm sorry. here. Research and development school system was established based on the 46th report. This is 46, the Showa 46, 1971. At that time, the one report from the Central Council for Education was published. This 46th report requested government to carry out gradual educational system reform to change the current 6-year primary school, 3-year junior high school, and 3-year senior high school. However, at the time, the Ministry of Education thought it was too early to change the educational system. So instead of making the school system reform, the ministry decided to set up the research and development school system in order to do the basic research to prepare the educational system reform. Therefore, research topics of the research and development school system are closely related to the educational system reform, such as kindergarten primary school transition, elementary and junior high school transition, junior senior high school transition. However, the research topics for the 2021 Research and Development School announced October 29, 2020, differ completely, significantly from the previous topic. This is one example. Research topic 1 was research and development concerning instruction for children with exceptional talent in specific fields. Examples of research perspective of number 1 topics include exceptional 2E children, those possessing both exceptional talent and learning difficulty, utilizing remote and online education, and researching approaches is to evaluate learning outside of school. Here, you can see their concern, government concern is the exceptional talent and learning difficulty. And they would like to use the system outside of school. And topic 3 was research and development on curriculum designed tailored to the characteristics of children who refuse to attend school. So now the government drastically changed the idea to the children who refuse to attend school. In our high school system, children are expected to come to school. So that if the children are in their own home, we try to invite them to the school. But last December, last year, government said, although children are studying within in their own hometown, they are regarded to pass the high school. That means, although they are not coming to the high school, the government requests the high school to accept their graduation. So most of the high school president was very confused. What is the school, face-to-face schools, and the internet school? We traditionally have a difference between face-to-face school and internet school, but government now requested, although the schools are face-to-face schools, they accept the system, of internet system. And topic 4 was research and development on curriculum for special needs education. So among 4 topics, 3 are not related with the school system reform. So these curriculum topics were aligned with the Central Council for Education for the building Reiwa era from 2019. At the time, Japanese school system was regarding 2 parts. One is the individualized learning, and the other collaborative learning. 2019, they thought the individual learning would be important, but also the collaborative learning for it. But now, actually, the government are going more to the individualized learning process. And as I told you before, in December 25th, 2024, the Ministry of Education started and requested the Central Council for Education to discuss about the nature of curriculum standards in elementary and secondary education. That means for the next reform of the course of study, they asked this council to spend more about the individualized part of the education. Then why the government requests us to spend more time for the individualized education? Maybe you can see the one important papers. On April 24th, 2021, the Population Strategy Council chair was Akio Mimura, honorary chairman of Nippon Steel Corporation, released analysis showing that between 2020 and 2050, the female population aged 20 to 39 in 744 municipalities, almost 40% of the Japan's local government, 1,729 municipalities, will decrease by over 50%, potentially leading to their eventual disappearance. Because of the female population has decreased in those municipalities, they said their local community will be going out. So this theory of regional extinction fueled public fears. And the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication held the first meeting of the study group on the role of local government in the digital age on March 22nd, 2021. This Internal Affairs Ministry strong force to decentralize Japanese system. This ministry stubborn supporter for the local government. However, in this study group, they changed their policy from the local government priority to the centralized system. So the topics noted that concerns have been raised not only by national and local government officials, but also in media reports and academic research that local autonomy and decentralization have hindered the smooth and effective implementation of measures such as COVID-19 countermeasures and the drafting digital legislations. So they think the COVID-19 approach was hindered by the local government. And the transformation of the digital legislation was also prevented from the local government. That's the idea of the Ministry of Interior Affairs. So they said, we wish to use the opportunity to examine the achievements and challenges brought about by devolution of authority to local government and expansion of local autonomy and self-governance through decentralization reforms, and to consider the appropriate form of local autonomy suited to the digital age, a shift from decentralized administration to top-down centralized administration. I entered the Ministry of Education around 40 years ago, and our discussion always decentralized itself. We thought centralized Japan did a lot of wrong things, a lot of mishandling. So the decentralization was, we thought, the right process to modernize and make the Japanese government better. But this study group think the decentralization is not the right process. And Ichihashi summarized the discussion as follows. Even in the digital world, local autonomy as a unbelievable backup reserve is important. As a backup reserve is important. However, local autonomy that is merely a backup reserve must not be used to justify preserving all systems left behind by the technological innovations like AI, or to justify not changing the patterns of behavior familiar to local residents, yet now irrational. And on June 19, 2024, an amendment to the Local Autonomy Act was passed and enacted by a majority vote of both ruling and opposition parties in the plenary session of the House of Councillors. This amendment law includes special provisions allowing national government to issue necessary instructions to local government in situations significantly impacting public safety, such as major infectious disease outbreaks or large-scale disasters, even if no specific provision exists in individual law. That means school education, we think, is an issue for the local government. Central government have no power. They have a power to advise and support. But this amendment said the central government can easily control the local government in the school education administration. Maybe this is all the explanation. The 20,000 Comprehensive Decentralization Act positions the relationship between the national and local government as equal. Before, we thought the central government is upper and local government get advice from the central government. But now, from this 2000 Decentralization Act, we thought the local government and central government are equal status. So the Local Autonomy Act stipulated that national government in autonomous affairs handled by local government must not get to the absolute minimum necessary. So only the minimum necessary help the central government to take into central government to advise the local government. So we thought the autonomy and the independence of local public entities is very important. But now the central government might change the situation. And considering the possibility of local government disappearing, that is the local public entities responsible for establishing school ceasing to exist, will it become necessary to implement education through methods other than school? That is, local government will disappear. So the local government cannot establish or manage the school system. Therefore, the government thinks other system is necessary to give the education to the children. Will education based on individual optimization be explored as something implemented through methods outside of school? Is that acceptable? And I would like to say no. I think by face-to-face school educational system is very important. And seeking the restoration of school education, I would like to explain the curriculum experiment, Kagawa University Faculty of Education, Takamatsu Elementary School. This is a research school, and this school was nominated by the government from 2022 to 2025 as a research school. And the Takamatsu school's curriculum, First, the purpose of the school is nurturing children who share and build the future together. The point is share. We think we have to share the happiness and sadness of the people together. So we would like to bring the children to be a person, to work together, to do everything together. So the ability or power, we try to build up the ability to run independent, power to engage, power to create. And the structure of the curriculum is four parts, four fields. One is the subject. Japanese language, social studies, mathematics, science, life studies, music, art, home economics, physical education, foreign language. I put one note. When I was doing the reform of the school system, my boss told us this subject system is perfect. And he said, there is no way to change this subject. But I said, maybe the Korean government have a different system. And the Korean teachers and researchers are doing much more advanced research about the subject. So I said, we should learn from Korean experience. But that boss rejected my idea. So if we would like to change the subject matter, I think we have to learn more from Korea as well as maybe Thailand as well. And second, this my time is maybe I can say the experimental part full of that. But it's we call the Dotoku religion or the how to create the values. And the field of experience have a two parts. One is discovery time. They are the challenge time. And the first, I would like to explain about the school itself. As Kazumitsu Nakano introduces Young's theory, he is a UK researcher. School is a place that distinguishes itself from the everyday knowledge of students and gives meaning to the world through knowledge supported by academic study. Such knowledge is organized into subjects. Subjects are pedagogical recontextualization of academic study. This is explained by Kazumitsu Nakano. And by studying academics, the world you see and the world you think about will greatly expand and become different from what it was before. We said the landscape that you will see upon graduation from university will be much more beautiful, powerful, and warm than you can imagine as high school. And that is the reason why children learn subjects that have been recontextualized educationally. So, Nakano also cited Barnett's argument from the UK. Skills and performance are trying to replace knowledge. However, skills are already established in known situations and cannot prepare the means necessary for an ultra-complex world. Human beings have overcome countless difficulties and opened up new eras, not through skill or performance, but through knowledge that surpasses human beings, allowing us to overcome crises through academics. Very funny event I have experienced in Shanghai was it's an international conference, and the Chinese government held that conference, and many researchers from UK, like Young, and from Singapore or US, had a very difficult discussion about the performance or OECD exam. However, the Chinese government and the support of the Chinese researchers said this year, right now, the performance is much more important than the knowledge or the academics. So the Europe and US criticize the performance. However, the Chinese people supported the performance. It's a very surprising situation, I thought. And how to study academics. And as Tanaka Koji argues, children do not learn concepts and knowledge cumulatively. Rather, they are being programmed by adjusting and reconfiguring the relation between scientific knowledge and everyday knowledge. Everyday knowledge has a short cycle, but scientific knowledge is based on the science. And between the school environment and the everyday environment, the richness of experience enables a qualitative transformation of subject learning. So if the children have very good experience, that would be much easier to make that experience into scientific knowledge. So this discovery time have a targeted experience and target bring them to the subject. So the teachers think what is the best experience for the children to learn subject. That's one field of experience. Second, regarding the process of moving forward experience toward value creation, the curriculum establishes challenge time and my time, linking in experiences gained during challenge time to value creation during my time. My time is newly established as a time for finding value within the same grade group, representing a new form of moral education. In today's society, which values diversity, as the professor told us before, children are required to create their own values while interacting with people holding diverse values. Within this diversity of values, the values of each individual child grow. The educational significance lies in the process where each student creates their own values. The challenge time in the experimental domain aims to enrich individual experiences connected to ways of living and being through project activities linked to the real world. Mayumi Nishino argues Japanese moral education, which has placed planned experimental activities on the one side and moral education time for learning various values on the other, has actually failed to realize moral learning driven directly from experience itself. So the moral education and the experimental activities are divided in Japan. So she said, experience-based moral education is important. What is needed now is curriculum development that bridges this divide and envisions moral learning that prioritize experiences. The challenge time serves as an experience for this experience-focused moral learning. children engage in project-based problem solving connected to society within multi-grade groups over the course of the year. The richness of this shared time enables the creation of value in their mind time. This Takamatsu School research demonstrates that creating knowledge and value from experience is achievable. This is possible precisely because of the institutional framework of school education. Specifically, it is because the experimental time domains of multi-grade groups and the subject learning and my time of same grade groups are implemented within the face-to-face organized educational setting of the schools. So this school combined well multi-grade groups and same grade groups, and their target is different, but the main goal is face-to-face education. And I don't think we cannot do this by the internet system. So that I really want to discuss with you. So thank you very much for taking time to give me a chance to discuss with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you again very much for the insightful ideas to share with us today. We got one more keynote address, which will be delivered by, excuse me, Dr. Walai Isarantra Na Ayuda Kaya. Sawadika. Please welcome her with big applause. Her title is Social Studies for Promoting Living in a Symbiotic Society, Key Concepts and Guidelines for Instructors. In the meantime, there's a technical problems here. So in the meantime, there was a short notice from the organizing committee that the conference is being held in multiple buildings. So we are currently studying in building Jitekikan, and we'll move to another building for the lunch, the Shin-In-Kan building, first basement. Then we'll move to the other building, Taiyun-Kan building, the first and second floor for the afternoon session. Then we'll come back again here, the Jitekikan building for the closing ceremony. But no worries, because the steps will be out there to guide us to this building area. So. I think the technical problem will take 5 minutes, so yeah, I think we better take a break for 5 minutes. Okay, we'll come back in 5 minutes again. Thank you. Dr. Online, and for the ladies and gentlemen. It's time to introduce our second keynote speaker. As a distinguished social studies educator, also as an internationally renowned scholar, she will be giving a keynote address. Again, let's give her some big hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, friends. It's my very pleasure to be here. And it's my first time in Kyoto. Even I have been in Japan many years ago, but in Kyoto, in Hiroshima for many times when I was in Chulalongkorn University. And it's very nice to be here with all of you. We are in the area of social studies and education. And thank you very much for inviting me to be the keynote speaker. And I think that I can share some of my experiences to you. My topic is related to our key theme. Okay, my topic is social studies for promoting living in a symbiotic society, and then about key concepts and guidelines for instructors, because I'm in social study and I'm teaching in the methodologies in social studies. Before that, I would like to clarify some. I think that maybe you know some of the information, but I would like to clarify that symbiotic. Like when we start with symbiotic, usually we think about biology or some environmental aspects. So but it's the meaning is living together. And I make some research to do what's going on with this definition. So look at so it got some from Oxford Dictionary and Webster. So they have two the meaning, like Oxford said, it involving interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, and Webster characterized by living in or being a close physical association between two or more dissimilar organisms. So you can see that the two is similar, the concept is similar, but maybe they use different words, but the same concept. It is connected to biology. Okay, but there is another part, another aspect. I'm sorry. Okay, another non-biology meaning. So I look at the Oxford and so the Cambridge Dictionary. They said that for non-biology is concerned about us, the human beings, like a mutually beneficial relationship between different people, groups, ideas, or systems. And the other involving people in an organization that depend on each other equally. So you can see that the meaning of in the part of biology and the part of non-biology, we can combine to describe human society. So I think that, so I conclude that symbiotic societies that we live now is about the society that the people, groups, institutions live mutually supportive and cooperative in an interdependent way with each other and with nature. So now we have I do have the idea of what does a symbiotic society mean. Okay, now we have the same meaning. And from the meaning of symbiotic society, I analyzed that the definition of symbiotic societies covers the concept of living together in these features. The main features, okay, interdependence, from the relation between nature, human and human, that in the social, economic, and environment aspects. And the second is mutual relationship. That's mean cooperation, compromise, respect, diversity in society and in nature. And the other one is justice and inclusion. So everything in together, interdependent. And now this symbiotic society. And now, what about social study? What's the relationship? Why social study? So I think that we know that how social study involves symbiotic. Why social study have to be promoting in symbiotic society. I think all of us know that about our area, that social studies, it's a discipline that about the broad area of learning uniquely integrates social science and humanity discipline. And I would like you to summarize things for the key concept of social studies related to symbiotic society. So I analyze and select some the concept. There are many concepts, but I select the main concept that may be related to symbiotic. So like history, the main concept that teachers have to develop to the student from the content knowledge, change, cooperation, culture, geography, distance, spatial interaction, environment, culture diffusion, economics, economics, interdependence, production, consumption, sociology, society, roles, values, and the other one, the main discipline, the politics, rights, responsibility, justice, and conflict. This is a key concept of social studies that come from social science. And we have to convey this to instruction for the students. Okay, this is, I think that we know already. And then when we look at the nature or maybe the goals of the social studies, I cite some of from the different resources and some of the authorities. So you can see that the natures that the authorities and the resource person and many resources, they say in the same trend, in the same concept, right inside, right? For example, the design subject to help students understand people, society, culture, and environment, to play roles in promoting living in harmonious society, to help students develop the ability to be informed and reason decision as citizens of culturally diverse democratic society in an interdependent world. And the other one, to develop responsible, informed, and effective citizens, to build communities where people could insist and cooperate in harmonious and collective growth. So you can see that it is the concept related and the similar concept. And so I think that we can conclude that, from my conclude that social studies directly support the living in symbiotic society. But to reason one, the concept of social studies that get from social science that we have to develop in students. The main concept like culture, cooperation, environment, justice, society, interdependence. Okay. And the other, the concept of teaching social studies or the nature of social studies, developing students understand people, society, culture, environment, and the other to make decision in diverse society in independent way. Okay, this is why I conclude that social study can promote living in a symbiotic society. And so how to teach and what to teach. Okay. The guidelines for instructor is very important because we have to develop the students to living in a peaceful way, have happiness way together with humans, with the people in the group, and also nature surrounding us. So I recommend that the one key concept very important that instructors should know. I think that we already know that. I recommend that I suggest these following peaceful society concepts. So I think that it has come from the concept of social study in the aspects of peace education. We have like peace education, citizenship education, and it's a peace education. But it is come from the nature of social studies and symbiotic society concept. So this is the following with peaceful society concepts, right? The main is the mains are non-violent conflict resolution, appreciate culture, related and social differences, sharing social responsibility, social empathy, sustainability awareness, awareness of civic rights and responsibility, national identity, and global independence, respect for human rights, and commitment to justice and fairness. This is the concept. But when we look at this concept, it's not the content, it is a content, but it's come from, it should come from content, but it is the value concept. Okay, and how we can teach. We have to teach this concept, the following, the above concept that I just tell you that we have to teach this concept, or value concept, through practice, through the process, rather than being a part of content. Because when we talk about this concept, concept comes from content, but we don't teach the content, we don't teach the student that about empathy, what does it mean? And then remember that, or appreciate culture, how is it? And remember, but we teach them to act, not to remember them, to act. So, and by practice, by the process of teaching, or by memorize the meaning. And so by pedagogy aspect, by teaching, and by teaching how, when we think about teaching this concept, okay, if we can teach in each, depend on the curriculum, if we can teach like history, okay, if the content, maybe you have to, the instructor have to relate that for the objective and the value related, and we have to teach it. But we have to develop the concept, but we don't teach the content. But the content is the means. It's the means that the teacher has to transform content by using activities of the process to develop students. Okay, and I think that the important main approach civic geography, history, economics, around the thing to be read, around the thing to teach value concept or concepts of social studies, concept of value subject with value concept. So, for example, that the main approaches that I recommend, and I think that many instructors or many teachers use this. One thing is project-based or experiential learning. Problem-based, issue-based or issue-based, place-based, community-based, deliberative forum, civic practice and issues. This is the main approach that I recommend. I think it is a good guidelines for instructors. When we teach this approach, we teach the process or practices the student through activities. Because we want them to change the behavior, get them acting, get them in the action. So activities using in these approaches, I think that it should be something that the activities that the student learn by themselves, hands-out or experiential learning. For example, field trip, but not field trip, not just like look at them, appreciate it. But we have to be meaningful. We have to get the activity that make the students not just look at wow, but make the students to develop the value that we are going to develop. Or an activity, the other thing is very important, like reflection dialogue. And the other, design campaign, the campaign project or model for local issues. Critique ideas, or maybe interview, or maybe the other part, like a role play or simulation. So the students will learn to get the behavior, to the action, through content, to skill, and handle the value, and then action is very important. Like for example, like if the value, the concept of like sympathy, empathy, because it's different between sympathy and empathy. So we don't teach the meaning. Then I told you, the instructor should not teach the meaning and just memorize. But we have to transfer the concept of empathy into practice. So the instructors should analyze their own curriculum, their own lesson, and then you should transform the content into the activity. Like we can have we want to get them empathy. So the empathy is a kind of feeling that want to tell the others. So we get, like, for example, the activities that maybe we have a case, something that a real case, situation, and can have activities that the students can understand what's going on of this case and how they can get help or get the resolution. Okay, and then do action because sympathy, okay, feeling. I feel sad for you, but do not feel. But if empathy, you have to help. You have to do that. You have to do it to show your empathy. Not just like sitting in a say or thinking in your heart. It's not empathy. So it is true from activities. pedagogy is very important for teaching of for develop students for the value concept of peaceful society concept. This is the main for the instructional activities. And then usually when we teach, we want to know how the students get from us, how they can achieve. Is very important. Usually the instructor use like a pencil paper or testing, but I think that for this case, but for promoting the values, it's not for the testing, because for the values and for the action that they have to do, not just to test that you get one mark, if you don't, you get 0, it's not. So I think that we should have the assessment should use portfolio, not quantitative approach, should be qualitative approach, portfolio, oral paper presentation, and by what? Not by, you have to be indicators. So we use rubric. I think that should be very good to use rubric dimension. From assessment, we can see that it reflects that the work, something, the result, okay, the result from the action of the students is not paper or the testing, but something that they do, the production, the task of work to do. So we have to evaluate their work or evaluate their learning assignment, okay, through portfolio, oral, and use rubric dimension. Because rubric dimension is very appropriate for this. Like we can evaluate many aspects for the production, like for example, the system of their plan, the process or the practice of the student, the process of planning, the evidence used, the data where they get from, it's we can believe it or not. Use the critical thinking. So it's we have the rubric this dimension and the impact of the project, impact of the student work, and collaborative working from the students, like group working, how they work, how they share responsibility, how they help each other. You can get the indicators of their work, and maybe the reflection from the students from their work too. So it is come from their own working, come from their own heart, come from their willing to do, not just memory. And from this, they will know, they will learn about, they know content, skill, okay, and can develop the value. And I recommend more. I wanted to suggest more tips of teaching for effective learning. So one thing, yes, that is for the instructor to be aware that you choose not the activity to real situation to get real decision making. So it should be authentic learning, not just like other people and then just create but real situation. So it's make you real experiential thing that you want them to get. And then maybe start the project with micro scale. Okay, not just, we have to know this is the pedagogy knowledge or psychology of teaching, that if we start with the small kids or maybe not small kid with the lower secondary school, and then okay, higher secondary school. We start with the micro scale first, and then explaining when they are expert, when they know how to handle. Now start with the big things. And when we start with this activity, they need a lot of skill. I think that you know the skill, like critical thinking, reading, discussion, any skill, thinking skill, writing, listening skill, research skill, like that, and decision making. So we should start with the micro scale and micro scale, and you have to practice each skill first, so they have the competence, they have the performance, and then they can ready to work. And the other is important that you should combine content, skill, and values. I think that content, something that the content is not important. Yes, it's not very important, it's not a real goal, but that content is a means in order to get the students to work and to get the students to the action. So in social study, you know, the goal of social studies, they have to teach knowledge, or content of knowledge, develop skill, values, and the last thing should be action. So we know that they change the behavior, they have the attitude, they change, have the attitude, and then change the behavior, the action. Through, I say that the same, I want to emphasize that through the process of teaching. So when you do a lesson plan, the instructor should be aware of that, not just only teach knowledge. If you teach only knowledge, just memorize it, but you have to apply everything on skills, value, and then the result, the behavior, the change. So the student will learn, because learning, I still believe that learning is change the behavior. If they don't change the behavior, the instructors fail. This is my philosophy, that the student have to change the behavior with the action. And the other thing is very important, should be the teachers or the instructors should have the reflection and feedback throughout the lesson, like we are the facilitators, but we not. The instructor should know their roles, not be the leader to teach, to the authority, but help them reflection and feedback. This is also, it's the basics, the quality of teachers. So we have to, this instructor should have to behave like that, have their own roles to do that, that can help the students, the best, to effective learner, to be effective learners. Okay, this is the main guideline, the general guidelines for instructor, social study instructors. That's, sorry. So make a conclusion. I think that promoting living in a symbiotic society is not an extra, but the main task of social studies. That is to contribute to the development of sustainable society by ensuring students to become competent and responsible citizens. What the rest of competent and responsible citizens is, who can live effectively and harmoniously with the natural environment. So this is like interdisciplinary, like environmental education, like that. The same, because we want to get peaceful society. We have to live together with our human beings and with the nation. Okay, so I think that from my paper, I think that is an answer that social studies can promote living in a symbiotic society by teaching value concepts. That the main concept should be interdependence, peaceful relations, respect for diversity, in order to help students to become competent, responsible citizens, not only to their own community. We have to start with the local area first, but to the whole society, and then expand to global society. So, this is the responsible for the instructors, social studies instructors, you know, them to be local, should be local citizen, national citizen. If we develop national citizen, then it will be global citizens. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention. ขอบคุณค่ะ Arigato. 감사합니다.
Okay, thank you again for the inspiring keynote addresses, both from Dr. Olai and Dr. Isoda again. We are having a very intellectual and insightful morning, which made us very smart and hungry. So I think it is a good time for taking a break for lunch. We'll move to another building, the Shin In-kan building. Before that, I think we need to take a photo. So please step forward for the photo time. Thank you.